Assalamu alaikum viewers and students. Today is the 7th lecture in the lecture series on the subject of sociology. My name is Sir Muhammad Zeeshan. I am a lecturer in sociology. I am a PhD scholar and PPSC lecturer topper. Now our today's topic of discussion is social action and social interaction. Now first of all, what does social interaction means? Social interaction is basically a process by which people act and react in relation to others. It is the basic building block of a human society. Without social interaction, there is no exchange of information and feelings among humans. Whereas social action is any action performed for achieving a specific goal. For example, students studying to secure good grades, driving a car, or reaching home. Social interaction and social action are both important concepts in understanding the dynamics of human interaction in society. Now, social interaction has some of important elements, which are: there must be two or more than two persons present, there must be a reciprocal relationship among them, and influence on the event, that is influencing the behavior brain of the persons, both the sender and the receiver. These three conditions interrelate the people among themselves and convert them into social groups. Likewise, there are some important forms of social interaction, that is between individual and individual, between individual and group, between group and group, and between individual and culture. Also, if we want to measure social interaction, it can be measured on these four domains. That is the frequency of social interaction, the duration of social interaction, intensity of social interaction, and focus of social interaction. Along with that, there are some of its important types. First is exchange, that is the most basic and common. Reciprocity, the idea of owning something in return. Second is competition, that is, it causes advancement in business, school, and sports, but can also lead to stress, lack of cooperation, inequality, and conflict. Conflict is also a type of social interaction, for instance, wars, disagreements within groups, legal disputes, and clashes over ideology. Fourth is cooperation, and fifth is accommodation. That is neither cooperate or conflict. For instance, compromise, truce, mediation, and arbitration. Now, social status and its related concepts. Social status is basically a social position that a person holds. In everyday use, the word status generally means prestige. The term status set refers to all the statuses a person holds at a given time. For instance, a teenage girl may be a daughter to her parents, a sister to her brother, a student at her school, and a goalie on her soccer team. Likewise, status has some of its major types, for example, ascribed status is a social position which a person receives at birth or takes on involuntarily later in life. For example, your caste, gender, and race. Along with that, there is another type of status which is known as achieved status. It refers to a social position a person takes on voluntarily and that understand reflects person's ability and effort. For example, the status that is achieved through your skills, education, power, and respect. However, there is a third type of status which is also known as master status. This is a status that has a special importance for social identity, often shaping a person's entire life. For example, president of any country is a master status of any person, whether male or female. Now, after social status comes the concept of social role. Role is basically the behavior that is expected of someone who holds a particular status. A person holds a status and performs a role. According to Robert Merton, he introduced the term role set to identify a number of roles attached to a single status. Now, role conflict means a conflict among the roles connected to two or more statuses, whereas role strain refers to tension among the roles connected to a single status. Now, all of these concepts can be understood by the help of this diagram, in which there is status set and role set. As you can see, there is this female which has the status of professor, mother, researcher, and wife. Now, all of these statuses is known as status set, and the different expectations or behaviors that are expected of these statuses are known as role. For instance, her status of professor requires the role of teacher and colleague, while the status of mother requires maternal role, civic role, status of researcher requires fieldwork role and author role, and as a wife she has the role of marital role and domestic role. Now, along with this, there are some important concepts which need to be understood. First is the social construction of reality. Now, this is the process by which people creatively shape reality through their social interaction, and this idea is the foundation of the symbolic interaction approach. After that comes Thomas theorem, named after W.I. Thomas and Dorothy Thomas, that says that situations that are defined as real are real in their consequences. Third important concept is the concept of ethnomethodology that was given by Harold Garfunkel, and this is the study of the way people make sense of their everyday surroundings. Now, Irving Goffman's dramaturgical analysis is also a very important concept which needs to be understood. Irving Goffman was a sociologist who analyzed social interaction, explaining that people live their lives much like actors performing on a stage. For instance, if we imagine ourselves as directors observing what goes on in the theater of everyday life, we are doing what Goffman called dramaturgical analysis, the study of social interaction in terms of theatrical performance. Dramaturgical analysis offers a fresh look at the concept of status and role. A status is like a play in a part in a play, and role serves as a script, supplying dialogue and action for the characters. Goffman described each individual's performance as the presentation of self, a person's effort to create specific impressions in the minds of others. Now, this process sometimes is also known as impression management and begins with the idea of personal performance. Now, the concept of nonverbal communication, demeanor, and personal space. Nonverbal communication refers to communication using body movements, gestures, and facial expressions rather than speech. People use many parts of the body to convey information through body language. Facial expressions are the most important type of body language. Demeanor is basically the way we act and carry ourselves is a clue to social power. Simply put, powerful people enjoy more freedom in how they act. And for both sexes, the concept of personal space refers to the surrounding area over which a person makes some claim to privacy. Now, these are the important concepts which I have discussed in our today's topic. Do like and subscribe for more such videos. Until then, Allah Hafiz.